Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to Coffee and Headlines, our daily get-together live here on Facebook every single morning of the week at 10:30, where we exchange stories, headlines, tips, comments, and suggestions to make our lives better here in Puerto Vallarta as an English-speaking community. It is always a pleasure to get together with you every single day and just see what everybody is up to. Of course, if you are new to these broadcasts, my name is Paco. And we'd love to know that you're new. So if you want, you can write the word new in your comment, and we'll be so very happy to welcome you properly. And also, if you have any specific questions that you would like for us to talk about during the broadcast, please add the letter Q to the beginning so that we can get to them as quickly as possible. As you know, my assistant Luna, who is out and about on a mission, is the one that gathers all the show notes from each broadcast for you to enjoy after the broadcast is over. And it is great to see you all. It is great to start the week. It is humid, but we can feel that the weather is starting to change. And excuse me. And it's getting cooler ever so slightly, or maybe it's just wishful thinking. Let me take a moment to say hello to some folks that I can see here. David is watching. John is in Ajijic. Karen is in Minnesota. Paul is in Boston. It is always nice to see that you guys are connecting with us from many different places in the world. It's always wonderful. Good morning. Had to miss Sunday Fun Day, so thank you, Paco, for playing rerun. I'm so glad that you were able to watch it, Sherry. I think we had a little bit of fun picking at fried rice and other crazy ideas that we enjoyed yesterday. We had some fun with Spanish, of course, as we enjoy. And today, as it is Monday, so today we get to see the COVID-19 numbers that are issued by our governor. And yes, Mijal Luna is out investigating. She's noticed that I'm moving some furniture around the house because it's time to rearrange. And Luna's going like, what the hell are you doing, human? Anyhow, we are going to go over the COVID-19 numbers. We're going to revisit the business of Ayotzinapa. Well, it's not the business of, but we will, as we know, it was the 6-year anniversary this past Saturday. So we have to talk a little bit about that. And we have some other interesting news about how we're doing and how we're recovering from the pandemic, and it's almost October, and we want to talk about what that means and so forth and so on. But first, let's dive into the news, and we will continue moving along as we go. Bam! So, as always, every Monday we begin with the latest statements from our Governor Enrique Alfaro Ramirez. And once again, his message for every week is not that different from the week before. In the indicators, Jalisco COVID-19, for this week, we lowered our hospital occupation from 22.6 to 21.5%, and that is good news, he says. But we increased the number of active cases per million inhabitants from 285.7 to 317.4. We're still within the limits, but we cannot go backwards. We continue to be under the national average. We maintained ourselves as the fourth state with the least number of accumulated cases, the sixth state with the lowest morbidity rate, and we went from 18% to 17% state. I'm sorry, from the 18th to the 17th state with lowest number of active cases. To trust what's going on would be a big mistake, thanks to the fact that the vast majority have abided by the sanitary guidelines, like the use of the mouth, face mask, and washing hands constantly. We have been able to advance to reactivate our economy. Let us continue this way. Let us avoid the emergency button. Let us take care of our health personnel, and let us save lives. That is what Governor Enrique Alfaro has said, which is not very different from what he said last week, and that's neither good nor bad. However, let's take a look at these numbers, because indeed the hospital occupation went down from 619 to 590, but the number of active cases increased again from 285.7 to 317.4. We know that if that number reaches 400, we are going to have the emergency button pushed. We've been waffling back and forth in terms of this number, the number of active cases. In my layman's mind, to me, it has to do with just how much we're out and about. So again, the message for today is not that different. Let me take a quick look at a comment. Ron Youngson says, Paco, morbidity and mortality are not the same. For those who know the difference, your references to morbidity when you mean mortality are confusing. I do not mean to confuse, Ron, and I will take a close look at my definitions to make sure that I'm being as clear as possible. Perhaps you can also enlighten us, because the last thing that we want is to be unclear here. Let me continue with the report, and thank you for bringing that up, Ron. Let me continue with my report here, because the number of accumulated cases shows Jalisco indeed in fourth place on the lower end of the spectrum. We see that Ciudad de Mexico, Mexico City, has the highest number. Active cases per 100,000 inhabitants. Jalisco is still under the medium average. And we can see that Baja California Sur continues to have the highest number. And mortality, not morbidity, continues to be under the national average for us, and Mexico City continues to be the highest number, and that's what we have for now. In other areas of things that we can take a look at, we know that there are now 27 states with a descending pattern of virus spread, and but not the state of Jalisco. I should say that the state of Jalisco, along with Mexico City, continue to be on some sort of plateau, said Hugo Lopez-Gatell. So we're neither ascending or descending. That's neither good nor bad, as far as I can tell. However, things continue to move forward here in the state of Jalisco. We see through this piece of news that more hotels are scheduled to open at the beginning of this coming month, including the Hacienda Hilton and the Hyatt Ziva. They have an occupation of 192 and 235 rooms, respectively. And it is also anticipated that the Barceló Hotel in Mismaloya will also reopen at the beginning of the month. We continue to benefit a lot from regional travelers that are still not feeling very comfortable going on a plane, but are doing a lot of highway tourism. So there have been increases of tourists arriving in the region from other cities such as Guadalajara and the state of Guanajuato. So this is all good for everyone. It is actually anticipated that hotels will be allowed to welcome 70% of their occupation by year's end. Needless to say, this has not been approved or unapproved. I think it's very early to tell, but this is what the hotel industry is hoping for. Of course, we are moving into the month of October, and the month of October starts raising all kinds of questions in the back of our minds. At the end of October, we have Halloween and Day of the Dead, two very popular vacations. Let me take a quick look at this so that I can learn something useful. Ron says, Paco, in simple terms, morbidity refers to the rate of disease in a population. Thank you. The number of infections, while mortality refers to the number of deaths. Thank you very much, Ron. I'll keep that in mind for future reporting, and I appreciate the fact that you helped me clarify that. As I was saying, the month of October brings forth a series of complications such as Day of the Dead and Halloween. These are two celebrations in which a lot of people like to go out and about to the Malecón. And I'm sure that a lot of people are going to be wondering exactly if we're going to be able to do that or not. On a lighter side, a lot of people are in the habit of wearing the Katrina makeup when they go out and about, and you cannot possibly wear Katrina makeup under a face mask unless you don't want people to see it, or maybe somebody's going to come up with face masks that that feature the Katrina smile in them. I don't know, but October is a month in which we usually start thinking, okay, so the winter season is upon us, and tourists are going to come back, and so forth and so on. How are we going to do? Again, we'll just have to wait and see how things turned out, and we will have to continue behaving in the best possible way so that we can avoid the increase in cases in our region. Moving into other parts of the news, as I mentioned, Saturday was the 6-year anniversary since the disappearing of 43 students from Ayotzinapa who were traveling to Mexico City, and their bus was intercepted and they disappear. 3 bodies have been identified since then, and but this has been a case that the government has failed to provide clear answers to the families of these students. Mark asks, what is the origin of the numbers being reported? The origin of these numbers are the official numbers that are provided by the government of Jalisco, Mark. That's where the numbers are from. We always show them on the program on Monday mornings. So they are the same program, the same numbers that we've been featuring every Monday for quite some time. Anyhow, back to the business of Ayotzinapa. There were all kinds of demonstrations in Mexico City, organized, of course, by the survivors of the students. As I was saying, the number 43, has become a huge symbol for the town of Ayotzinapa and for Mexico. The president addressed the families in a statement made from Palacio de Gobierno, from El Zócalo, and he apologized on behalf of Mexico to the parents of the students. He said that there are some orders to apprehend some military members that are suspects in this particular case. He said, I wish to offer apology, to ask for apologies on behalf of the state, because we are in front of a great injustice that took place by the state of Mexico, by the government. This is a state issue, and now the state has to repair the damage and clear what happened, and we have to make sure that we bring justice where we have to do that. Some people say that the president said very little, and other people say that they believe the president. It's really difficult to tell because, again, it's been 6 years, and hopefully this is something that, as President López Obrador says, will continue to be clarified moving forward, although I don't see clearly how this is possible. Let me take a quick look at your comments to make sure that we are on the same page. Logan is trying to push my buttons. I am that is so funny. Tax returns. Yes, everybody's talking about tax returns this morning. Even our weather, carrot weather. We'll get to that in a second. But first, let me see. Oh, more tax comments. Good Lord. Good Lord. Elvira has glamour masks. Okay, we'll have to think about that. I saw a Katrina mask on a young woman waiting at a bus stop. I tell you, we're not going to be able to wear our Day of the Dead makeup if we want to. Um, but it is interesting to see how things are moving forward in that regard. How do you feel about Day of the Dead and celebrating and this and that? I don't know that I feel very keen on going out and about, although I don't quite understand why it is that nightclubs seem to be open without any restraint, and yet we cannot walk down the Malecon breathing fresh air and getting close to the sculptures. But anyhow, it's the government that makes these decisions, I suppose. And before we continue, let us take a quick look at the weather. Well, as I was saying, even the weather has something to say about paying taxes. Carrot Weather says, I'm just a souped up computer program, and even I pay more than $750 in taxes. Why do you know? It is 26 degrees Celsius, feels like 30, and it is 79 degrees Fahrenheit. We have a 20% chance of rain right now, and humidity is at 100%. So we can anticipate a hot and humid day. Carrot Weather says we can expect some rain in the afternoon, and tomorrow, Tuesday, it'll be humid and mostly cloudy through the day, and Wednesday, it'll be humid and partly cloudy through the day. And that is the news for today. And of course, I do have a bit of leisurely stuff, although it's not quite leisurely, but apparently some folks in the city are having problems with Telmex. And I've been seeing reports of this online on Facebook, people reporting that they haven't had internet for days. Apparently, it's been a week and a half for several people, and Telmex is failing to provide an answer. The users have saturated the Telmex offices where nobody has been able to provide anything specific. I don't know if anybody here is having problems with Telmex. I am fortunate enough that in my neighborhood things are fine, so we are not having any problems with the net right now. But I do know that some friends of mine are. So there's no specific answer. Hopefully, if somebody else there you go. I see that Sly is commenting that he called Telmex this morning and they said we have to switch to fiber optic lines. Well, that may be the problem. I certainly hope that it's not widespread. Needless to say, we wouldn't be able to go forward with coffee and headlines without having good internet. And let me take a look at your comments just to see if we have anything else that is pressing, showing up here. Okay. Okay. Sean just returned from LA, San Diego. The restrictions are a lot worse there. Interesting. I'd like to believe that we're taking good care of things here. Bob says that he went without Telmex for 2 weeks until they finally came and fixed it. That's good to know. And that's pretty much what we have for today. I don't see any very, very important comments or questions that you wish to have addressed. So we're going to keep it short today. It is only Monday. We have a whole week to ourselves. But in the meantime, we could do coffee and headlines in person in my apartment. We certainly could do that. Who is my internet provider? I work with Telmex. Telmex Infinitum has been the provider that I use for the longest time. I barely ever use my landline. I always use my cell phone. I haven't answered my landline in forever. But I do use Telmex Infinitum, and I have decent speed, although we don't have digital here in my neighborhood, but I'm happy with the service. Anyhow, this is a shortened version of Coffee and Headlines. We don't have much more to report for the day, but as always, I am very happy for your company. I'm happy for your comments and suggestions. I'll do some research on this business of morbidity versus mortality because I get them mixed up. So nice to have something new to learn every single day that we get together. Anyhow, thank you very much for joining us. As always, tomorrow we'll have more news and more headlines and more comments from you all. In the meantime, please stay happy, stay safe, stay sane, stay well informed, and stay in touch. Have a great day.